Hey class, going into our week 3 assignment. This is my video. I have my amazing wife helping me today because we are on vacation right now, and I do not know anybody in the state of San Diego or city of San Diego. So she's going to be helping me out, and we're going to be doing this mock counseling session together. So with that, we will begin. So, hi Devin, it's nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. Are you at all nervous right now, or have you gone through like any sort of therapy or counseling in the past? Do you have any experience with this?
I'm not too nervous, just excited to dive into some healing, but I've done some counseling before around like 4 months, about a year ago, and it was super, super helpful.
Good. So it was a positive experience for you?
Yeah. Super, super positive. I was like really alone, I think, during that point in time, so it was really nice to air some things going on in my life with that person.
Definitely. So I'm glad it was a positive experience for you. Today is just going to be a little bit of getting to know you and just diving into your story a little bit, so I have a better understanding of how to help you best. So with that, what do you do? What are your hobbies? What are your fun time activities?
Yeah, I'm the student worship pastor at my church. So I get to oversee student worship bands. And our church has 5 campuses. So it's a lot of bands and a lot of students. And I have key leaders that help make that happen with me, because I definitely can't be at 5 places at once.
Yes.
So my job is a big, big part of my time and my passions, and kind of a hobby in the same breath. Also, the cool thing about my job is I've just started diving into sermon crafting and getting to teach messages in our student ministry, which is a really, really cool thing that I didn't know I'd be super passionate about. So definitely writing is one of those like little hobbies that I really enjoy. I songwrite as well for my church. Everything's very church oriented. But those are the things that fill up my cup, and I love to overflow as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So have you always been musically inclined? Like, has that been part of just kind of who you are, or is that something you picked up later on in life? Or
it's definitely one of those things. Like no one in my immediate family was ever musically inclined or even artistic, really. Like my mom scrapbooked, and that's about it. So it wasn't something I grew up necessarily around, but extended family-wise, like my grandma was a music teacher, and my great-grandparents on my mom's side both had like grand pianos in their living room. But I didn't grow up around music as much. My parents like threw me into sports super young because that's what they loved, and quickly realized I was not a bit interested. And so eventually, like elementary school, I was like reading books all the time. I loved literature, and then started getting involved in like a little play in like elementary school, and then throughout like middle school and high school really discovered I loved the arts as a whole. And it wasn't until like 10th grade or so I felt like the Lord pushing me into worship ministry, which was super weird because I'm like didn't know how to play guitar or piano or sing really, really well. And so it hasn't really been developed until just in the last like 10 years of my life, which is really crazy.
So did you you said like in 10th grade, that's when you started to feel kind of that push. Did you grow up at the church? Did you start in high school? Like where did that all start?
I was born and raised in the church. I dedicated as a baby and been involved. It's been a huge part of my life from a very, very young age. But it wasn't probably until middle school that I became like super, super involved and super passionate about being there. It felt like a second home, like home away from home. And my mom ended up getting on staff around my like 9th grade year. Meanwhile, I like went to a school that was really far away, and ended up like switching again in my 10th grade year, or going into my 11th grade year to a zoned high school that was like right across the street from the church. Okay. So ended up just always walking over there after school and hanging out with all the pastors there. I just loved helping out. So
that's awesome. Did you grow up here in the Valley, or did you grow up somewhere else?
I grew up in Las Vegas. So they moved out there when I was like 5 years old. I had like lived in like Tahoe and Carson City. So basically like my whole childhood was spent in Las Vegas.
So you went to high school, you moved here. What was the reasoning for you moving to Arizona, to the Valley?
I was looking for a Christian college I could go to. And so I was looking at a handful of schools, like one in Missouri, like a couple in California. And they were all really interesting. It was really weird. I didn't feel like any school was like, God was like, yeah, you need to go here. He just kind of left the pages open. But around the same time, my dad ended up getting a job promotion out here in Phoenix. And so they were moving out here, and that's when I had like discovered Arizona Christian University through some people that I met from a different church in Vegas who ended up coming out here. So it was like all these like weird coincidences that happened, and it just popped up on my radar. And the thought of like being able to stay at home and commute to school and save literally like $15,000 a year, since it costs so much. To live on campus and the food plan, I was like, that sounds smart financially, since I want to be a pastor. And the school seemed great. They had the major I wanted to major in, and moved out here with my family.
And what was that major?
Worship ministry.
Nice.
Well, technically a music degree with emphasis in worship ministry, and a minor in biblical studies.
Okay, so your entire family moved out here with you to college. So you said your dad had gotten a new position out here around the same time that you were pursuing a college. Oh, that's a good timing.
Yes.
So does that mean you guys are, that sounds like you guys are close? Are you close with your family? Do you have any siblings?
I have a younger sister. She is 18 years old and kind of the opposite of me to a T. Like, she had blonde hair and now she's dyed it black, so completely opposite of me. But she's super, super fun. She's like an Enneagram type 7, so just loves to have fun, run around, do things, have the time of her life, and avoid all her problems. And eventually they bubble up, and there's a lot of them. But I'm relatively close to my sister, just because we're like 5 years apart. So by the time like I was like leaving high school and she was entering into high school, around that time is like when we started getting really, really close, just because she looked up to me so much. And tried to take her under my wing. And then I had my mom and my dad. Not super, super close with them. I'm not super, super close to my parents. I don't know, it's kind of like a weird thing. Probably should be. They're great, great people, provided everything for me, and super let me major in whatever I wanted to major in, like super, super kind in that sense. So just never really connected like super deep with my parents.
Is there like a specific reason maybe that you may not have connected, or just kind of was never there, just first child kind of thing?
Yeah, first child, just doing my own thing. I think like my independence, like definitely, and like my love for like the church and God opening every door kind of sort of thing for me to walk through, and like not necessarily needing, like I never wanted to rely on someone, like my parents, my mom, my dad. I just wanted to be able to do things on my own, and I was like super self-motivating as a child, even like really, really young. I guess my parents told me like when I was like a toddler, I'd be playing in the living room and then it would get quiet and they'd be like, "Where's Devin?" And I just took a nap there. Like they never had to put me down. I just would fall asleep when I wanted to fall asleep.
Doing your own thing.
Yeah, doing my own thing. So.
Well, it's been great getting to know you a little more. I do want to ask you one question, this last question. In our next couple of sessions that we have together, what are you looking to get out of our time together? I have an idea in my head, and I want to make sure that I'm helping you as best as possible. And to make sure that, or to do that, we need to be on the same page. So hearing your story and your upbringing and how you got here has been helpful. But what's really the one thing that you want from this journey that you're going on through counseling?
Probably just some like better anxiety practices. For I sometimes like have panic attacks, and I've just noticed like, especially with like my new season that I'm entering into, like just elevated stress levels, and maybe even like social anxiety. I'm not too sure. I'm like not self-diagnosing or anything right now, but just wanting to kind of dive into maybe what's causing that, so I can like identify triggers and or I don't know, just heal that. Maybe it's a trigger that's just an open wound, and maybe I need to dive in and heal that. But yeah, just kind of figuring out my anxiety.
And how long? So you said that this season that you're in. How long have you currently been in your job?
I've been in my job for a year, and got married 6 months ago or so. And so just like figuring out being a young like, married couple at this church and this job that's really overreaching and new like responsibilities being placed, it just all of it feels like new and nothing is settling down just yet. And also having like all that responsibility, it just felt like a new season for a good like 2 years now, of like what's next, what's the next step, and all these things, and how do I handle myself better, and X, Y, and Z. So
well, like I said, it's been amazing getting to know you, and looking forward to the next couple of sessions that we have together, and that we can really dive into that and try to figure that out, and hopefully get you to that goal of like finding like good ways to heal and overcome those social anxieties or whatever anxieties that you are feeling at the time. So Devin, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.